You have a problem with Lucifer. So you have a feed direction problem or a chute that's blocked off down in the distributor or something. Something's going on.
From mining in a vast wasteland to finding gold in places where he least expected it, Parker Schnabel might have just found the biggest gold mine in history. How? Let's find out. Parker Schnabel is a well-known figure in the reality television series Gold Rush. He gained fame for his role as a young and ambitious gold miner. Parker comes from a family with a long history in gold mining, and he has been involved in the industry from a young age. He quickly rose to prominence on the show due to his determination, work ethic, and success in finding gold. Over the seasons, viewers have followed Parker's journey as he navigates the challenges and triumphs of gold mining, showcasing his leadership skills, perseverance, and entrepreneurial spirit. Parker Schnabel has mined in various locations throughout the Gold Rush series, including the Klondike region in Yukon, Canada, and other parts of Alaska, such as Scribner Creek, Indian River, and Parker's own claim in the Yukon and Alaska. He has also explored other gold-rich areas in the pursuit of striking it big.
So what led you to this place and all the places you've looked for ground?
It's deeper but much richer, which is not, not always a good trade-off, as we well know.
However, life is not as easy as this man expected, and whatever he is getting on the land might not be paying up for the pretty coin he invested. Picture investing $15 million in a gold mine, only to discover that the gold you unearth isn't as lucrative as anticipated.
I'm really just trying to get Mitch's head wrapped around all of this right now. He's a tough sell, so I might need your guys' help.
Parker Schnabel experienced this exact scenario when he ventured to Dominion Creek, staking his claim on the mine. Despite his earnest efforts, Parker's initial enthusiasm lessened as he struggled with unprofitable terrain and the looming specter of financial challenges. Once more, they commenced operations on their claim.
Piece of punch plate out of the trommel here, and this almost looks like an old section of trommel screen.
I wonder. That seems really small, though.
Leading edge. Well, that's what I'm thinking, right?
Mitch noted that this time, and roughly twice the size of the land they worked on along the Indian River the previous year, Parker anticipates significant expenses this time around, fully aware of the financial commitment involved. However, there's skepticism about finding any gold on the land. Tyson reflects on Parker's potential reaction to depleting his funds for the project, despite having substantial savings. He predicts it will be some time before they generate enough gold to cover their expenses, leaving everyone concerned about the looming threat of bankruptcy. Parker Schnabel is taking bold risks to establish a significant business presence. Despite being just 28 years old, he's poured all his resources into the $15 million Dominion Creek claim, describing it as a wild and costly venture. Parker acknowledges that they've set off on a costly spending spree, investing more money than ever before with little tangible return.
All of this area is drift tailings, and we've punched several holes, and just because you don't find gold in one pan doesn't mean you won't in the next.
In this thrilling episode, Parker and Mitchell set off on yet another exciting journey, this time in search of new gold mining locations in Alaska. With high hopes for a prosperous season, they're reassured by the sellers that the area is rich in gold deposits. However, questions arise about the history of previous mining operations in the area and why they were abandoned, prompting doubts about the true potential of the site. Parker's impressive $400,000 gold haul in the latest episode of Gold Rush adds to the anticipation. As they explore Alaska, Parker Schnabel finds himself reconsidering his plans to mine 20 miles north of Fairbanks. He enlisted his trusted right-hand man, Mitch Blasky, for support. Mitch probes Parker about his reasons for seeking gold in Alaska as they journey to the claim. Parker explains that despite the deeper ground, the area is much more lucrative compared to their current mining site, based on past experiences. He believes it's a worthwhile trade-off.
Before the dredges came through, they drift mined this whole area, so there's a layer where there's going to be gold.
Last year, Parker discovered a pay streak 4 times richer than their Yukon claims while drilling test holes through densely packed clay ground. However, deep digging is currently impossible due to a 4-month delay in the wash plant designed for this terrain. As Parker and Mitch arrive at the claim, they are greeted by Aurora, the daughter of the claim owner, and her husband. Before discussing business, they exchange pleasantries. Parker recognizes the need to convince Mitch of the claim's potential, emphasizing that Aurora and her husband must persuade him that running a business in Alaska is a feasible option, knowing Mitch can be a tough sell. Aurora, along with her husband Drew, are hopeful that they might salvage their season with this opportunity. During this crucial pitch, Aurora radiates positivity and possesses a convincing charm that catches Mitch's attention. She assures them that she will guide them to areas where she has previously struck gold, emphasizing the abundance of gold waiting to be unearthed. Parker is thrilled by the prospect as they press on.
Yeah, so this would have been put here 100 years ago and just ran through some super crude sluice box. All right, Alora, it's your turn to show us where the gold is. I'm not getting the job done.
As they delve deeper into the field, they begin to inspect the claim. Mitch's curiosity is piqued when he spots an ancient dredge, guessing it to be an old dredging bucket, possibly from the earthquake, resembling a fragment of a punch plate. He suggests it bears the appearance of an antiquated tremor screen. Parker agrees but notes it's a relatively small size. Mitch observed that the setup was much tighter compared to what they have at Big Red, where they operate with an inch-bottom deck. He believed that gaining more insights into the activities and techniques of the old miners in the area would greatly benefit them. Aurora, drawing from her field experience, deduced that any larger gold than what they could have extracted would have been overlooked by the previous miners and would now be available for them to claim. Mitch agreed, and led by Aurora, they ventured deeper into the claim to explore an area that had been previously mined in the early 1900s.
All right, you can see that pile over there. A lot of times with tailings, if you see birch trees growing out of it, they've got roots, there's gravel, there could be gold.
Meanwhile, Parker continued to sift through the soil in search of gold traces, but found nothing, leading him to reassess his findings. Mitch anticipated that it would all be drift tailings, a sentiment that Aurora echoed, explaining that they had drilled multiple holes and confirmed that the entire area consisted of drift tailings. Despite this, they remained optimistic, acknowledging that the absence of gold in one pan didn't mean they wouldn't find any elsewhere. For Parker and Mitch, this experience was nothing out of the ordinary. Mitch acknowledged that they were accustomed to not finding gold while panning, as they had experienced this disappointment numerous times before. Aurora sarcastically remarked on the difficulty of finding gold, to which Mitch agreed. Nonetheless, Mitch continued his efforts to figure out the activities of earlier explorers at the dredge site and concluded that everything was transported up by shafts. In response, Aurora shared her knowledge, explaining that before the dredges arrived, they engaged in drift mining in the region.
See, this is why I get so frustrated with panning, is I just pan duds all over the place.
Well, you're gonna wanna definitely take a look at this. It's already peeking on the side,
indicating the presence of a stratum containing gold. Mitch seemed to grasp the concept, realizing how experienced miners would descend, penetrate, and reach the pay stratum. The old-timers dug holes down to depths of up to 100 feet through concrete-like permafrost until they reached the pay soil above bedrock. Subsequently, the miners moved horizontally, creating accessible tunnels and extracting the gold seam. They then brought the extracted gold to the surface, where they used crude sluice boxes to filter the pay dirt and retain some gold in their tailings. Now that Mitch had a better understanding of the methods employed by the older miners, he speculated that there might be gold left behind for them to recover. If they missed a few, it would be relatively easy pickings. With this realization, Parker and Mitch became considerably more optimistic about their chances of finding gold on this claim.
It only makes sense to slam it through a plant.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if you can sluice it, you don't have to strip it. I feel really confident that we can have a successful season out here.
Yeah.
Perhaps even holding out hope for future mining operations. Joining the conversation while still panning for gold, Parker mentioned that the drift had passed through some primitive sluice boxes and could have been in place for as long as a century. He continued panning, but without success, so he eventually sought Aurora's assistance. Parker needed to complete the task, so it was her turn to guide them to where the gold might be. She pointed out a mound of earth with a birch tree growing on it, explaining that often when tailings are present, birch trees with roots, gravel, and possibly gold grow out of them. If Aurora's observations proved correct, Parker and his right-hand man might see their ambitions of potentially relocating the operation to Alaska come to fruition very quickly. Taking the lead, Aurora leads them a few meters in the direction of the pile. Upon reaching a promising location, she hands Mitch the shovel and asks him to give it a try. After filling the pan with dirt, Mitch hands it back to Aurora. It's time to open it and see what's inside. If gold has indeed been left behind in the tailings by the old-timers.
While Mitch and Parker are gone, I'm in charge of basically the Yukon operation, keeping Big Red going, making sure we're still moving lots of overburden gravel.
This could be a game changer for Parker, allowing him to mine it quickly and easily once his wash plant arrives. After a few rounds of panning, they finally have something to rejoice about as they spot some traces of gold. Aurora, excited by the discovery, phones the other crew members, certain they'll be interested in what she's found.
And even though the gold wasn't great, I feel like there's so many positives to come out of it. I've never worked with a team who have such good work ethic. You can put them pretty much anywhere and I know they'll do a good job. Parker still wants me around. Didn't get fined, so that's a positive, and we'll have to wait and see what's next.
Parker's past experiences with panning hadn't yielded much luck, as it is clear from his response. He regretted this, as it often led to frustration during the process. Despite his past frustrations, Aurora remained optimistic, convinced that Parker would want to inspect the pan she was holding. She was sure it would lift his spirits. As she cleaned the dirt out of the pan, she noticed visible traces of gold dust poking out from the side. This was the most significant pan she had ever experienced, and she couldn't help but remark on it.
I want to show them that they can spend as much time as they want in Alaska or need to and not be concerned about things over here.
Parker, looking at the pan in Aurora's hands, expressed his enthusiasm as well. The team hit the jackpot, and many of them were still in disbelief. Aurora found it absurd that there was such a sizable piece of gold there. The old-timers had not only left them with exceptional gold, but also substantial losses that Parker and his team could mine right away using any wash plant.
He's kind of in a tough spot. Running some of that material down to Lucifer. It's expensive, it's time consuming, it's hard on people, but we don't sluice it, we lose it.
Parker and his team appeared eager to seize this opportunity, indicated by the enormous potential for financial gain presented by this discovery. Parker shouted to Mitch that they were on board and that this marked the beginning of an excursion in Alaska. He continued to praise the pan, describing it as fantastic and highlighting the gold it contained. Parker emphasized that since they would need to relocate everything if they were going to mine there, it just made sense to process it through a plant. They had abruptly re-examined their objective in Alaska, and there were encouraging indications that they would be moving their operations there. In the end, Mitch expressed his satisfaction with the operation, indicating that he was finally persuaded it would be effective.
It's really nice knowing Mitch and Parker can leave and everything's still moving the way it should, you know. That's what we do out here. We find gold and we move dirt, and hopefully there's a lot more to come.
Concluding his remarks, he expressed confidence that they could have a great season there. They left Big Red under Tyler's supervision at the airfield and proceeded with the Yukon operation, involving the transportation of heavy gravel. Upon their return, a crew member warmly greeted Parker and Mitch, and they exchanged greetings before discussing business. As talks regarding their trip to Alaska commenced, Tyson inquired about the state of affairs. Mitch then delved into detail about the findings from their investigation of the Alaskan claim.
I mean, it's a very intense business that's, you know, you have a very short amount of time. Like, we have 4 months to basically make, you know, all the money that we can in a season.
He shared that the claim had some drift tailings dating back to the turn of the 20th century, attempting to show his familiarity with the area. However, a crew member interrupted, noting the significant amount of tailings present. Parker then provided more specific details about the area, suggesting that the land could span up to 50,000 yards. The crewman was shocked by the enormity of the claim, mentioning that they were already piled high, indicating expectations of striking it rich. Parker countered, emphasizing that they weren't getting rid of excess work and clarifying that there was no need for stripping.
Normally we don't sluice this much gravel, so I'm a little bit concerned about just the amount of it here, you know. We usually sluice about 2 feet. Right now, Dean's got about 5 or 6 in the cut.
He stressed the importance of demonstrating their commitment to mining in Alaska to Don, aiming to shift some earth, earn cash, and provide him with his royalties. Failing to do so could result in their ejection from the area. Tyler and the crew still had a mission to complete at Indian Island before they could fully address reality. The crewman quickly brought this up, mentioning that while Parker and Mitch were away, they had already gathered some dirt. He discussed the efficient operation of the airstrip and their success in extracting some gold.
I was really hoping you were going to be at a spot where I could grab this dozer from you and grab the other 11 too and take them up Australia Creek. I don't see us getting through the dirt without the big dozer.
Getting ready to weigh the gold they had obtained over the past week, it was now Tyler's turn to showcase what they had been working on during Parker's absence. As Tyler oversees the weighing process, the ground gold is poured into a pan. Parker predicts that Big Red will produce around 1.8 ounces per hour at the airfield, totaling approximately 160 ounces for the 90 hours it operated that week.
I mean, I don't know what to do about this. There's, what is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors in there.
Pretty small.
Yeah, they're small. Me.
To their astonishment, Tyson Lee tallies up an impressive 2,450 ounces of gold found that week, surpassing Parker's expectations by far. Mitch expresses gratitude to the staff for their hard work and shares his thoughts briefly.
If we got any chance of getting through this season, we're going to need some big machines up here to do it. I gotta go talk to Parker and see if we got some bigger dozers that we can get out here.
Overall, the crew is impressed by the unexpected bounty, signaling a successful week of operations. During the time when the two experienced members were away, the team managed to collect gold worth almost $400,000. Parker, upon his return, analyzed their rate of discovery, which averaged approximately 2.5 ounces per hour, a pleasantly surprising result compared to his initial expectations.
Kind of proved myself a little bit, being kind of green at running excavator. Well, literally it looks like I'm getting into the swing of it. I just gotta remember which stick does which maneuver.
Despite their absence, he found motivation in the team's performance and was relieved to see that operations continued smoothly in their absence. As Mitch and the others begin to leave the cabin, the final staff member, who previously declined assistance with packing the gold, remains behind.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna stay on track to get 6,000 ounces, like, this test needs to have at least 30 in it. Otherwise, it's gonna be a massive waste of time. Dean better be right.
Tyler feels reassured knowing that Mitch and Parker can depart the airstrip smoothly and that everything will proceed as planned, bringing him great happiness. Meanwhile, they continue their work of uncovering gold and moving soil, with many more discoveries anticipated. Parker Schnabel's career in gold mining has been the primary source of his substantial fortune since he was 16 years old.
So you can come in here and kind of smooth this out, and then I need a road and fill this pond in. There's your chariot. Do you know how to start it?
He has overseen the day-to-day management of the family mining business, Big Nugget, from a young age, starting by raising capital and making strategic investments to launch his venture. During the first season of the TV show Gold Rush, Parker discovered an impressive 960 grams of gold in the Klondike. Since then, he has remained dedicated to his business endeavors. By the age of 24, he had extracted gold worth $13 million. Parker has invested a significant portion of his earnings into mining equipment.
It's been 2 years in the making. For me, the big driver of this is really trying to find the next spot to bring a big operation in,
resulting in his considerable wealth. However, unlike many of his peers, he leads a modest lifestyle, often spending his time with the Gold Rush cast and friends. Despite his success, Parker shows no signs of slowing down. Despite its profitability, mining companies like his must pay royalties to the government or other relevant entities for mining on the land they operate on.
Let's go out to the cut and you can start digging dirt and you can start learning how an excavator runs. Over where we're working, we're gonna have some really unstable banks. Don't do anything sketchy when it comes to working around the water. Just always stay way back from the edge.
Displaying the complexities of the industry despite its outward simplicity. Royalties are charges imposed by municipal, state, or federal governments based on the quantity of minerals extracted from a mine and the revenue generated from selling those minerals. There are two types of royalties, gross and net. A gross royalty is calculated based on the total value of the minerals produced at a mine, without considering the company's production costs. In contrast, a net royalty allows for deductions related to the expenses incurred in producing a marketable product.
We did a bunch of pans in these drift tailings, so I was thinking to start with, we would just start hauling these back to the yard, and when the plant gets there, then we'll have a stockpile of pay ready to go.
Resulting in a more favorable return on investment for the mining company, given the significant upfront expenses involved in locating, extracting, processing, purifying, and marketing mineral products. Mining corporations argue that they should not be required to pay royalties on the value added to the raw materials.
This did get underground mined pretty hard, so it's going to be a mess down at the bottom.
Do you think we'll find like some shafts and stuff like that?
And drifts and maybe even some rooms that are all roomed out, and they'll be all full of mud.
In Alaska, mining companies are also subject to a 3% net profit royalty. Additionally, major mining corporations play a significant role in supporting their local communities by paying property taxes to cities like Fairbanks and Juneau. Furthermore, they contribute to taxes in the Northwest Arctic Borough as part of their commitment to the regions where they operate. The exhausted crew, weary from their persistent labor, came to realize that their perseverance and resilience had brought them unexpected wealth, far surpassing their initial expectations. For Parker, the $14 million windfall symbolized more than just financial success.
This stuff's just sitting on top. You scrape the trees off and it's pretty much ready to put in the plant, so pretty cheap to mine. I grew up on a homestead out in McGrath, so I'm used to remote living. Gold mining It's out in the woods.
It represented a journey marked by unwavering determination and an unyielding pursuit of gold. As the season drew to a close, Parker emerged not only as a top earner, but also as a modern-day legend of Klondike mining, his name destined to be synonymous with the remarkable success achieved in the heart of Alaskan mining territory. Parker's team stood out as one of the most resilient in the entire Gold Rush series, their tenacity leading to surprising results and discoveries that captivated audiences. Yet, resilience was not limited to the team alone. Every time one ventures into a new business, there are so many challenges that they encounter, especially if it is as unpredictable as mining is.
That's a little bit challenging because in finding these old shafts, there's a lot of mud holes around here you can bury your dozer in, and so we're carefully trying to find the edge of these tailings.
Parker Schnabel has been consistent in every aspect of his venture, ensuring that he is working with people determined to have the same goal as him. As he continues working in the mines, we wish him the very best and hope that good fortune comes his way soon.